Hello and namaste. My name is Prashant Singh. On behalf of Intersex Asia, I welcome everyone on the celebration of this special occasion. Today, we join the intersex community, especially in India and across the region, to mark the second anniversary of the momentous Madras High Court judgment, which banned unnecessary surgeries on intersex children and infants. This day is observed as the National Intersex Human Rights Day. And to celebrate this day, we have someone who has a very special connection to the day. I welcome Gopi Shankar Madurai, who is the founder of Srishti Madurai. Currently, Gopi serves as a member of the National Council for Transgender Persons as the representative for the Southern region, and also serves as an intersex representative on the board of ILGA Asia. Gopi's contribution was specifically recognized by Justice D.R. Swaminathan, who authored the judgment. It's great to have you, Gopi, today here. Let me begin by asking you, what is the significance of this judgment and how important it is for the intersex community in India? And particularly, we are talking about this on this day, 22nd April.
Namaste. Thank you for having me, coordinator of Intersex Asia. I wish happy National Intersex Day to everyone in India. And one of the most important thing is it's a very significant day, very important day, because this is the first ever judgment in India to openly discuss about the rights of intersex infants and children. So this was passed on April 22nd, 2019. One of the most important verses in the judgment you can see is the consent of the parent cannot be considered as the consent of the child. And I think first kind of judgment to talk about bodily integrity of an individual in India, because even in our Indian constitutional, provisions, very less article we have which deal with, bodily integrity. And so the way the Madras High Court beautifully interpreted various other judgments and citing our work. So it's very important and significant.
Thank you. Yes, you're right. I mean, it is significant from that point of view that it is the first time when bodily integrity in the context of surgeries was discussed. So, Gopi, tell us a little bit about what was your advocacy journey after the judgment was delivered, because you had to do a lot of work post this judgment to get the government order actually passed, which was the directive of the judge.
Yeah. And in 2016, we launched a complaint in the National Human Rights Commission saying that a lot of infants and children whose sex characteristics are not, fitting in the heteronormative structures of the society, they are going through a horrible medical procedure for which we don't have a regulation, and a majority of the medical practitioners don't know, this science, especially those who are, pediatric surgeons. And so a lot of people combine together to come here, right, in this particular field. So I always tell that in India, especially, of course, around the globe, we talk a lot about medical science without any medical ethics. So how ethical it is, how ethical the practices. So, of course, one comes from my personal trauma and struggle, and other comes from the fellow members, Srishti Madurai and Intersex India, as well as the various other forums. So that was the time in 2016, the NHRC, we directly went to the NHRC office in, opposite to the Delhi Hat, and we lodged the complaint, and then they immediately responded saying that this is a human rights violation. So they kind of forwarded our complaint to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, saying that they need to respond us within, such and such time. So the Ministry of Health, the Deputy Director General of Health at the time, Dr. Anil Sain, responded us saying that, yes, we are operating such patients with the consent of the patients, but who are the patients? Children, infant, or the patients, and how infants can give consent. So the whole replay was very insensitive and insane. So when you see the judgment in 2019, of course, even in our Srishti Madurai blog, these things are available. After this, in 2017, we educated a lot of people from judicial bodies, policymakers, politicians, a lot of people, and especially journalists. So that helped us a lot. Continuous coverage there was. And when this judgment came, not many media know what is intersex. In India, people don't know the difference between intersex and transgender identity. Transgender is the gender identity, whereas intersex is sex characteristics. They don't know the difference between two, and they often think that, oh, it's a very usual, common issue they are talking about. But nobody is worried about the intersex infants or children and the struggle they are going through. So this judgment referred the NHRC response and the complaint they forwarded to all the communications between them and the government as well as between us was quoted in this judgment. Apart from that, the judge who passed this judgment went ahead and kind of cited Malta Declaration, to Malta's legislation, to European councils and European unions, as well as Germany's, Australian, even WHO's, reports. And so it's a kind of a well-researched document. I think this is the first ever judgment which is clearly differentiating the difference between sex identity, gender identity and expression, and sex characteristics. Only one issue we had was that unfortunately, it seems the registrar typed it as sex reassignment surgery. We always wanted to know it by the name of sex selective surgery, or sex assigning surgeries or something like that. This was a kind of a huge kind of blessing for us. The judgment was a blessing for us. So I wrote about it to a few people. And then also Dr. Soumya Swaminathan from the WHO, the Deputy Director General of the WHO, who is also a Tamilian and Indian, wrote to me that this is a good judgment and I'll introduce you to, Dr. Daris Ahmed. At the time, he was, the in charge of National Health Mission. So he can, advise me on various issues. So that's how it started. I went to the NHM office and then I met him, but then I understood that the health secretary holds everything, they hold this supreme power. Even these bureaucrats are under the other senior bureaucrats, so they can't take autonomous decisions. So, and also NHM is a different program than implementing a particular order in the state. The good thing about NHM is that this particular judgment got included in the NHM schemes. There are plenty of schemes which they are working for infants and children from the age of 0 to 18. So they have included this judgment as part of it. And one of the most important things is that I met the health secretary and I explained her about the judgment. She was not aware of the judgment at all. And I told that if you are implementing, Tamil Nadu will become the first state in India and the second place in the world to have a legal regime. You need to help us. So I was talking to her for half an hour. So she promised us. But then she connected me with the Director of Medical Education of Tamil Nadu, who is in charge of all medical college as well as medical research and medical education and everything. And he happened to be a humble person too, Dr. Edwin Joseph. So at the time he was, he was suddenly visiting Madurai. And then he thought, I'm a person who endorsed by WHO or something. So he kind of met me in the Madurai Medical College. He came out with this lungi. He was so informal. And I told him that, listen, sir, you are the director of medical education in Tamil Nadu. And there is something very bad is happening here. And this has to deal with the life of children. The good person, without any ego, he is, how I am telling this in the sense, he said, Gopi, I don't know what is intersex. Can you handle as a class in DME to everybody who will sit on this policy to understand, the issues and the complications, as well as the pros and cons of, implementing this judgment from the Madras High Court. I said yes. And then after that, I handled a class for more than 2 to 3 hours. I made them to understood, each and every person, the Tamil Nadu's senior surgeon from the government hospital. I made him to understand what is the difference between transgender person and this. And for example, Dr. Jagannathan, one of the senior most plastic surgeon in Tamil Nadu, he's a government doctor, and I made him to understand the difference between, the surgeries, different types of surgeries, and why the surgeries are, not good. It creates negative effects on this infant's body and all that. I also asked my fellow civil societies. At the time I was in ILGA, I myself, issued a statement, as well as I requested civil societies like Human Rights Watch to issue a statement too. So they published an article, Kyle Naik published an article, and then Human Rights Watch also wrote a letter to Tamil Nadu Chief Minister and as well as the Health Minister, requesting them to implement the judgment. The time was going on, and so the DME didn't know whom to invite, whom not to invite. They usually invited all this HIV people, tuberculosis people who have nothing to do with intersex issues. So I said, I'm going to invite a senior pediatric surgeon in India with experience of more than 20 years in this field. I'm going to invite a medical geneticist who have the experience in this field for more than 20 years. So, thank God that all of them were so kind and humble people. They didn't charge a penny from me. All of them came for a common cause to support me from Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Delhi, all these people. Even, I think you were a volunteer. Prashant was a volunteer at the time, and you were drafting us everything. And we organized the first state, policy consultation with the state in India. So the Ministry of Netherlands, COC, sponsored it. COC is a Dutch civil society. So when they sponsored it, they just gave us $1,500 to $2,000, I think. So we organized the meeting in a hotel in Chennai. When we organized this meeting, so we invited all different types of stakeholders. We also had representatives from Intersex Asia, the former co-chair, I think, Isan Rajmi from Nepal was also there. So we had a kind of a bilateral meeting or something like that. In the morning, we had meeting with the bureaucrats, and the afternoon, we had the meeting in our place, right? Unfortunately, the health secretary couldn't attend the meeting, but they have sent their representatives, some of the senior most people in the field of child health and, pediatric surgery. All of them were there, and we had a senior most medical geneticist, Dr. Anuradha Udumudi from Hyderabad, and all these people, and they were wonderful. And they, especially Dr. Anuradha Udumudi, gave a wonderful presentation from the perspective of Dr. at the time, Dr. Ramesh Santanakrishnan was the president of All India Pediatric Surgeons Association, being president of the association. He said he's forming, he already formed certain internal guidelines, but which need to go through ICMR and different bodies. I'm sorry that I'm using a lot of technical terms here, because to learn all this technical terminologies, it took a lot of time. It is not, on the day when the judgment came, I was like, oh, I know what is what. I know what is Indian Medical Association. I know what is DME and all that. So I read all these things. I learned from people. So it took a lot of time. We invest our spirit, soul, or whatever you call, everything in this particular issue to make this happen. And one of the most important things is that the DME's definition was not going by the definition I suggested them. So we were in a clash after the meeting was over. So then they had a meeting, and that meeting didn't went well. because the doctors from the government hospital, the child specialty hospital, they were not okay with regulating or banning the surgeries because there is a huge economy behind it. And there is no medical ethics in it. I didn't know what to do. I believe in this person called Sharda Devi or the Guru of Vivekananda. I was like, oh my God, what to do? I was like looking up to her, and then like I came back and I called the health secretary. I was like, a bit, rude in my voice. And like I said, ma'am, if the government order is not going to come within such and such time, I'm going to move a contempt petition to the court. And she can challenge this judgment. She couldn't do. Because she believed in it. She's also a nice person, very nice person. Only thing, she blocked me on WhatsApp then. So that the government order got issued when I was in Seoul for the ILGA Asia conference at the time. So that was August 13th of 2019. Tamil Nadu became the first state in India, the second place globally to have a legal regime for intersex infants and children. So many people I want to thank, and all of them, played a vital role. A lot of individuals,
Yeah, you've narrated the entire journey of how you reached, how the movement reached this important milestone. And it's also, like Gopi said, it's very well recorded in the judgment. It's kind of a history of the intersex movement, as well as like a very good compilation of important documents on intersex human rights. So it's a must read for everyone, written in a very easy to read language. So that's something which I would suggest. So Gopi, now that we have covered what all happened till the point the government order was passed. Now, since then, a lot of time has passed. And you have been working constantly on the national as well as interacting with different bodies. So take us from the passage of the government order to where we are right now. What all is transpired during this time period?
We want to implement this particular government order in Tamil Nadu throughout other states in a more democratic way by having more dialogue and all that. One of the most important thing was that we immediately approached the Telangana governor at the time, and she couldn't respond on this issue. She didn't give us an appointment, but then we are again trying an appointment with her because now she's also the interim governor of Pondicherry, because the jurisdiction of Pondicherry falls under the Madras High Court. And if this surgery is banned in Pondicherry, it will be simultaneously banned in, Yanam and Mahe, which is one part is in Kerala and the other part is in Andhra Pradesh. So which will create impact on a Malayalam speaking region as well as a Telugu speaking region. Both, Telangana and Andhra will look up to it. A small area in their state in India is banning sex selective surgery will become a sensation for them. So we are working on it. So our volunteers will assist us effectively, I believe. Of course, they are working tirelessly. There is this person called Dr. Satyendra Singh, very, very inspiring disability rights activist. He took up this issue with the DCPCR, Delhi Committee for the Child Protection and all that. In turn for that, the DCPCR, with the suggestion from the Dr. Satyendra Singh, appointed me and Anjali Gopalan as the advisors for the intersex human rights issue. That was the time they were getting compliance on the intersex issues. So we got response from multiple civil societies and everything. And we suggested the Delhi government should ban sex selective surgeries on intersex infants. I also, asked my friend Kyle from Human Rights Watch. They also came up with, a letter of endorsement and all that. And Meenakshi Ganguly and all these people sent a letter to the Delhi government. In turn, DCPCR chairperson Anurag Kundu suggested that the Delhi government must, ban the sex selective surgeries based on the Madras High Court. The prima facie for the whole thing is the Madras High Court judgment first. The second thing is that the UN CRPD committee recommendations. In 2019, Srishti submitted, a report with the UN CRPD committee in Geneva. So our volunteer went to Geneva and this is the first time LGBTI people with disability, their rights, intersex infants and children, their rights were discussed, from India at the UN platform. This is the very first time, before that we discussed about LGBT issue, but not LGBTI people living with disability or difference. So they also cited it. So that is something very important. We are also trying to move a kind of a letter of recommendation within my power to the Goa Chief Minister and various states. Meanwhile, probably we may file a public litigation. It will take its own course of time. But even before involving in all this, we were, continuously supporting intersex issues, especially the rights of female athletes with intersex rights, Santi Soundararajan or a lot of people, even voicing for Tudi Chand or writing about Pinky Pramanik in Tamil and different regional languages, to create awareness, with the right information, with a more affirming information towards those athletes, So that was one of our key focus. And then also coming back to the judgments, we are working on a national level, a regulation or a ban on sex selective surgeries, but for which we need a lot of resources. We are super under-resourced. We can't even hire a research assistant or somebody. As you know, Srishti is a non-funded and self-funded student volunteer movement. We depend on our volunteers' donations and if people wish to contribute to our cause, they are most welcome to reach me. And, money is not the only resource we need. We need various types of resources. They may have a good talent to, write in English, articulate, things. They may have, a knowledge on legality, that is law, or, they may be specialized in disability rights or certain types of rights. We can work on intersectional issues then, waiting for certain resources so that we can go ahead and do certain things. Even without these resources, we are active in our own terms, or not in a very broader sense, but then because we have very less resources, and also with the COVID and all that travel restrictions, and then the second or third wave coming back, the second wave in India as well as the third wave in Delhi, we have a lot of issues around that. So, but then Intersex Asia gives us a hope, and we are always indebted to people like Hiker and everybody in Intersex Asia, Jeff and Isan and, everybody there, from the designer who's designing the posters to everybody who is, there to support us. Also, after a few months, we may also need certain emergency funds, because if the lockdown is going to be implemented in a more stricter manner. So we are just working on a lot of issues altogether.
I understand. So Gopi, you've talked about you raised a very important point, how under-resourced intersex-led organizations are. I mean, it's not just the story in India. Of course, in India, the challenge is huge because the only organization working at a national level. Of course, it requires a lot of resources, but the story is very similar across the region.
We are also especially focusing on intersex issues. We are planning to rise about these issues with the ministry. I'm planning to write a letter with the help of a volunteer to the secretary as well as to the minister, recommending him to, pass a legislation specifically for intersex human rights, or, or to protect the intersex infants, or to amend the Madras High Court judgment, or like we are also in the process of approaching the National Human Rights Commission again on this. So so it's
I can
like
understand a lot of work is still on the agenda.
and we are super under resourced with everything, like
right. Absolutely.
In this lockdown alone, we supported more than 78 people, gender diverse people who are intersex, trans, and like from different communities, predominantly people who are assigned as female at birth.
So it's been some really amazing work that you've been doing, and we completely understand the challenges that are there in India, and the amount of resources, the amount of effort that is required to meet those challenges. But today is a day of celebration as well of this milestone, and hopefully that very soon we are able to also have a national level ban, as you mentioned. So we wish you all the best, Gopi, in your struggle, in your fight, and thank you very much for joining us on this special day. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste. And I once again wish all Intersex Asia committee members, or the chairs, co-chairs, and the coordinator, and everybody there, especially the fellows, Intersex Asia fellows, happy National Intersex Human Rights Day in India. And
thank you so much.
And this is a very important day. The judgment is very important. The struggle is very important.
True.
So we very soon we will have a very wonderful national-wide regulation or a ban to practice medical sciences in a more ethical manner. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Gopi. Once again, namaste.
Namaste.